Namaste, and welcome back to Ananta Anviksha, Infinite Inquiry. In our quest to explore the profound depths of ancient narratives, we often encounter stories that are not just epic in scale, but also startling in their detail, pushing the boundaries of what we might consider possible or even imaginable. Today, we unravel one such extraordinary account from the Mahabharata, a story of birth so unconventional, it continues to spark debate and wonder. We're talking about the birth of the 100 Kaurava brothers. The question we pose is this: could this ancient tale be hinting at concepts astonishingly ahead of its time? Are we looking at a narrative that metaphorically echoes what we today might associate with assisted reproductive technologies? Perhaps even the idea of 100 test tube babies. What is the Mahabharata's shocking birth secret? The matriarch of the Kuru clan, Queen Gandhari, wife of the blind king Dhritarashtra, was a woman of immense piety and devotion. Pleased with her unwavering commitment to her husband, a commitment so strong she chose to blindfold herself for life, the revered Sage Vyasa granted her a powerful boon. She would be the mother of 100 sons, 100 powerful sons destined to be kings. Imagine the weight of such a boon, the anticipation, the royal and societal expectations. Gandhari conceived, but her pregnancy was unlike any other. It stretched on, not for 9 months, but for nearly 2 long years. 2 years of waiting, while across the Kuru household, her sister-in-law Kunti had already given birth to Yudhishthira, the first of the Pandavas. Frustration, perhaps jealousy, and deep anxiety mounted within Gandhari. In a moment of desperate anguish, the scripture tells us, she struck her own womb. What followed was not the birth of a child, but the emergence of a hard, lifeless mass of flesh. A horrifying sight. Was the boon lost? Was her destiny, as the mother of 100 sons, a cruel illusion? Into this crisis stepped the sage Vyasa, the grantor of the boon himself. He was no ordinary ascetic. Vyasa was a figure of immense spiritual power and esoteric knowledge. He instructed Gandhari not to despair. He took the undifferentiated mass of flesh and with his profound understanding meticulously divided it, not into 2 or 10, but into 101 distinct parts. Then came the truly astonishing part. Each of these individual portions was carefully placed into its own sealed pot, a kumbha, filled with clarified butter or ghee. These 101 pots were then stored in a concealed, protected place to be nurtured and monitored. For how long? Another 2 years. Think about that. Tiny portions of flesh, incubated outside the womb in an artificial environment for an extended period. After this long incubation, the pots were opened. From the first pot emerged Duryodhana, the eldest of the Kauravas. His birth was accompanied by terrifying omens. Jackals howled, fierce winds blew, a dark foreshadowing of the destruction he would later unleash. Following him, 99 more sons were born from their respective pots. And finally, from the 101st pot, a daughter, Dashala. So the boon was fulfilled, 100 sons and a daughter. But how? This is where Ananta Anviksha's inquiry truly begins. What are we to make of this narrative? Is it to be taken as a literal, historical account of an ancient, almost miraculous biological event? Or is it a profound allegory, rich with symbolic meaning, hinting at truths beyond the literal? When we hear of a mass of flesh being divided and nurtured individually in pots of ghee, it's hard for a modern mind not to draw parallels, however metaphorical, to contemporary scientific marvels. The concept of ectogenesis, gestation, outside the womb, or even the principles behind in vitro fertilization, where life begins in a controlled environment. Were these pots of ghee acting as primitive, ancient incubators? Was Vyasa, with his divine knowledge, performing a procedure that, in its essence, resonates with cell division and cloning, albeit in a deeply symbolic or mystically empowered way? The Mahabharata doesn't shy away from the extraordinary. It's a text filled with divine interventions, celestial weapons, and beings with superhuman abilities. So, within that framework, is it possible the ancient poets were describing a unique biological event? Perhaps one they themselves didn't fully understand scientifically, but recorded as a marvel. Or let's explore the symbolic. What could this shocking birth secret represent? Could the 100 sons symbolize the manifold human desires and attachments that, when uncontrolled, lead to conflict and destruction, as embodied by the Kauravas? Is the long, arduous process a metaphor for the immense difficulty and patience required in creation? Or perhaps the unnatural strain of trying to force a particular outcome? 100 sons against a more natural order. And what of Vyasa's role? Is he a divine scientist, a miracle worker? Or is he the master storyteller, the epic poet himself, using this extraordinary birth narrative to establish the unique, almost faded nature of the Kaurava lineage, setting them apart from their very inception? His intervention is crucial. Without him, Gandhari's boon would have resulted in tragedy. His knowledge transforms a potential disaster into the fulfillment of a divine promise. What does this say about the role of wisdom and intervention in shaping destiny? The shocking aspect isn't just the method, it's also the number. 100 sons. In an era where lineage and male heirs were paramount, this was an overwhelming display of fertility and power. But did this sheer number, born of such an unusual process, contribute to their collective hubris, their sense of entitlement that ultimately led to the Kurukshetra War? Duryodhana's inauspicious birth signals that something is amiss from the very start. Is the epic subtly critiquing the overwhelming desire for numerous male offspring, or the potential pitfalls of tampering with natural processes, even if divinely sanctioned? Let's consider the societal perceptions. How would such a birth have been viewed? As a miracle, a terrifying omen, a sign of divine favor, or something more unsettling? The Mahabharata presents it as a fulfillment of a boon. Yet, the consequences of these births are catastrophic for the world. The story of the Kauravas' birth forces us to confront the limits of our understanding and the power of narrative. It challenges us to think beyond conventional biology and consider the metaphysical dimensions the epic explores. It makes us wonder about the knowledge systems of ancient cultures. While we must be cautious about anachronistically imposing modern scientific labels onto ancient myths, we also cannot ignore the provocative parallels that these stories sometimes present. Are these parallels mere coincidence? Or were the ancient sages and poets tapping into a deeper understanding of life's mysteries, expressing them in the symbolic language of myth? Could the shocking secret be that these ancient narratives contain seeds of concepts that humanity would only begin to explore scientifically thousands of years later? Or is the secret more about human nature, our desires, our ambitions, and the often unexpected ways destiny unfolds? The birth of the Kauravas remains one of the most enigmatic and debated episodes in the Mahabharata. It's a testament to the epic's capacity to blend the mundane with the miraculous, the human with the divine, and to leave us, millennia later, still pondering its deepest meanings. What does this story tell you about faith, fate, ambition, or the very nature of creation? Does it make you see the Mahabharata, or even modern science, in a different light? Ananta Anviksha doesn't claim to have the final answers. Our aim is to journey through these questions with you, to ignite that spark of curiosity, and to marvel at the enduring power of these ancient tales to make us think, to make us wonder. Thank you for joining us in this exploration. Until our next inquiry, keep questioning,